Sorry, I wasn't ready. Now we are. G'day and welcome back to the fan cams for the first time in 2026 after our final preseason match. Sort of our only official preseason match. Thank you for all being here. We run away 16-point winners. We kicked the last 5 of the game. We were trailing by about 2 goals in the start of that last quarter, and it was getting a little bit nerve-wracking. I mean, I did not care about the result whatsoever. It's good we won, a nice little positive. But I saw the signs I needed to. We moved the ball a little bit more aggressively. We took the sort of positive option more than we have been in the past. And, I'm only going to believe it when I see it in the regular season and in round 1. But I saw really good individual signs and I saw really good team signs. My hair is all over the place. I apologise if you care. Just quickly, before we start, as we do on all of our pieces of content nowadays, I do just want to shout out the channel members that are supporting the channel just that little bit extra. Dwight Kello, Greeny, Oz Terra, Alex Dean94, Freo Rover, Docker Dan, John Bull, Dean Crow, and Rilo. Thank you all very much. If you want to become a channel member, hit the join button next to the subscribe button. But we did run away 16-point winners in our final preseason match. Now we've got a week off, and now we head into round 1 against Geelong. We got 32 in here. If you want to join the fan cams, click the link in the description, or click the pins link in the comments. Key takeaways: drop marks and Jesus. Sorry, there's a StreamYard update that's just made the comments giant. Let me figure out how to make those smaller. Oh my god. Can I fix that? Size. What the? I literally can't even fix this. Oh no, I can show the comments there. Sorry, give me a second. That's ridiculous. They are massive. They're taking up half the screen. Oh my god. I'll read the comment when I fix this. This is fun. Tell you what, this platform is being a little bit annoying. Wide, no. Banners. I don't know how to fix it. The comments are massive. I guess I'll lean up a little bit. Key takeaways: drop marks and skills a little bit sloppy. Forwards, key forwards firing. Tobin Murray deserves a debut. Frederick and Bolton not good enough to take a lift. Bolton I'm a bit 50-50 about. Same with Frederick. I think he's had a bit of a poor preseason, but I quite enjoyed what he brought today. Like, he did a few silly things, but you're always going to expect that. And I think we saw in the end the sort of X factor that he brought, and that's kind of why we have him in the team. So I was okay with Freddie's game. Shea Bolton, I thought, was quite good. His kicking's really bad, and that needs to improve, like, now. But overall, I thought Shea was okay. It was a really nice goal. He took off the Mason Cox hit out. And Tobin Murray's an interesting one. I mean, he very well could debut. Isaiah Dudley was named in the team, and I look behind me at Rushton Park, and he sat up in the stands. So I'm not sure why he wasn't playing today, Duds. We'll get into the fan cams very shortly. We've got a few in the waiting room. If you would like to join in the waiting room, click the link that is pinned in the comments. Johnson and Raz look good out there. Bruce needs to be the one inside, not Shea Bolton. Well, I think they can both be there. I think they can both get minutes. Sorry, I need to fix these comments. They are so... Can I fix them now? It's just really doing my head in how big they are. No, clearly not. I'm just going to have to lean up. Can I, move my camera this way? Can I... That's not any better. Okay. Well, I was going to have to deal with the comments being giant. Cox has to be in the 23. Hugh Davies is not AFL standard. Couldn't disagree less. I thought Hugh Davies... Sorry, couldn't disagree more. I thought Hugh Davies was our best key back today. I don't think he put a foot wrong. He was better than Omac. He was better than Draper when he played. No, I don't think Hugh Davies is... I'm not a huge Hugh Davies fan. I'm not just blindly defending him. I thought Davies played really well today. And if Cox or Pearce miss, then I'd still probably pick Omac. But behind that, Davies played really well. Good hit out. Wind difficult. Tracy stood out. Yep. I'd agree. The wind was very difficult. I thought Adelaide would break away a little bit more in that third term with the breeze, but they didn't in the end. A better game from Freddie. Agreed. Anyone else see that guy wrong on the field at the end of Tripperado? I didn't see that. I left basically as soon as the siren went. Like, I'm getting back into practice, getting back into the swing of these. I'm losing my voice. Honestly, thought Freo were done early in that last quarter. I guess Crows ran out of steam. Yeah. They did run out of steam a little bit. Adelaide had a bit of a weaker team playing, but that being said, we didn't have Switter, Darcy, Cox, Pearce, We were missing a few too. It goes both ways. And I was at the game. Is this live? Asking for a mate. This is live, mate. This is... Murph hasn't missed a step this preseason from last season to this season. Seems to be gone to the next level. Yeah, he looks incredible, doesn't he? Freo showing some good signs for the start of the season. I think we are too, Riley. You got the Samful logo there. You might be a Crows fan. Yeah, I thought Davies was good. Dockers clearly the fitter team. That's what I gained out of it too. We're a fit team yet again. Besides Tracy Murphy, I wasn't really impressed, to be honest, mate. Really? I was. I saw some good signs. Didn't need everyone to dominate. Like, Sarong had a really quiet game. Clark had a quiet game. But it was just the guys that we needed to see. I thought Mason Cox competed well. Anyway, let's get into the fan cams. Codstar, are you ready? Let's need to see your face. Yeah, he looks ready. All right. First fan cam of the year. Is this going to work? There we go. G'day, mate.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, mate. You watched the game? You enjoy it?
Yeah, I watched the third and fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah? Who impressed you?
Pardon?
Who impressed you?
Frederick did alright.
Yeah, he played well, yep.
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah, Murphy Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was good, I thought. How do you reckon we're going to go this season? It was just a pre-season game today, but a good win. How do you reckon we'll go in Geelong?
I think we might do alright. Good start of seems to be good signs.
Nah, 100%, mate. Well, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And hope to see you again throughout the year.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, mate. O'Meara looked just as bad tonight as Origin. O'Meara wasn't bad in Origin. O'Meara was one of WA's best. Gee, there are some takes tonight. I disagree. I thought O'Meara had a poor game, but to compare it to Origin, I thought Jager was really good in Origin compared to tonight. Our 1v1 moments was just horrible, but shout out Hugh Davies, held his own. Yeah, shout out Hugh Davies. I don't think the stat sheet will really tell the story. Let me give it a gaze. Hugh Davies had, I'm going to have to scroll down here. Oh no, I can scroll up. 12 disposals, 3 marks, had a tackle. Let me see how many intercepts he had. Neil Erasmus had 9 intercepts, by the way. Hugh Davies had 7. Hey, shout out Hugh Davies. 100% disposal efficiency. That's what you want in a key back. 5 goals from the big kahuna. These comments are so big. 5 goals from the big kahuna. Fingers crossed he kicks 5 each game this season. Bring in Freo's first Coleman medal, maybe. Murphy Reid going up to another level. Future Brownlow medal winner, hands down. I think how Tracy played today isn't really an indicator of how he's going to play this season. Not in terms of skill. Josh Tracy is a ridiculously good footballer, but he played a lot deeper today. And particularly throughout a big patch of that first quarter when Amos went off with that ankle, JT sort of went a little bit deeper and filled that void. So I'm not sure whether that he'll play that deep and be the main guy inside 50 as much because he's so good pushing high up the ground. So I still feel like Pat Voss may be our leading goal kicker this year or may get more opportunities to be so. But, gee, JT was amazing today. Got all over the ball in Origin but had a little impact. I disagree. I mean, I think he could have a massive impact because, like, Chad Warner's the type of guy you're going to watch and go, gee, he had the impact. But I thought Jager's disposal efficiency, I think, was very high. He was very good linking up from halfback. This is Origin, by the way, not the game today. I'm just going to look at Jager's Origin stats quickly. Jigger had... Can't even find him. Yeah, he had 16 touches. Didn't get a heap of it. You can't alongside Chad Warner. Yeah, he had second highest disposal efficiency on the ground, 94%. 5 score involvements. I thought he was very damaging. Anyway, we've moved on from Origin. Fremantle from top 4, top 4, and maybe a premiership side, probably. Well, it's unlike us to get ahead of ourselves after a preseason win. But hey, that's what we're doing, I guess. By the way, I know I've already mentioned it, but feel free to join the waiting room for the fan cans. The link is in the description or the pin link in the comments. McVee wasn't great. I don't know if it should be him or Warner in the best 23. They're probably not the two I'd be comparing. I was a bit disappointed Carl didn't play today, but Bailey Banfield stepped up massively. McVee held his own. Like, Judd's going to take a bit of time to adapt in the role he's playing. But Judd didn't do anything wrong today. I thought he used the ball really, really nicely. Again, I'm just going to look at old Juddy's stats. McVee had 14 disposals, 3 marks. Did his job, Judd. I thought when we were switching the ball across halfback, McVee was always a good part of that. So, you know. Amos ankle. Why is that funny? McVee looked lost, do you reckon? I thought he was definitely better today than he was last week. Do we go with Banfield ahead of him in round 1? I'm not sure. But no, I didn't see too much wrong with McVee today. Murphy is unreal, man. I can't even explain it. Only 19. Yeah, he's just ridiculous, eh? He's insane. Hello, mate. Shout out to Colin Blades. He did our halftime and full-time graphics on Instagram today while I was at the game. So, you know, Drew's decided to go out to a gig in Melbourne. So we had someone else step up. No Darcy, Ryan, or Cox, but we still do all right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that Darcy talking point is going to be something. If Darcy gets himself fit, do you even play him? Because Mason Cox really looked himself out there. We need Pearson Cox. Like, Hugh Davies played well, but against that Geelong forward line, I mean, Shannon Neal and Jeremy Cameron both might miss. But still disagree with Davies. The stats and contests don't tell the whole story. Off-ball, he was ball watching with some average second efforts. Still got plenty of time and promising signs. Fair enough. I'll agree or disagree. I thought he was quite good, but maybe I didn't watch him as closely as you. Another guy I wanted to mention quickly, I was just trying to think of who I was thinking of. Corey Wagner played a lot of forward today. A lot of half forward. I was sort of standing on the 50-metre arc at Rushton. So I was taking a great deal of great notice of who was lining up at half forward, and Corey Wagner was there a lot. And it was a lot of the time when Murphy Reid started in the midfield, and Corey Wagner sort of played that high half forward role that Murphy would usually play, and was delivering it really nicely inside 50. So I was a big fan of Corey Wagner's game whenever he went forward. We thank the Pies for delisting Mason. Well, I don't think he'd get a game at Collingwood, I'll be honest. But I guess different clubs need different people. Lockie Neal should join Fremantle in the season. I'm okay. I don't really need him. Or we don't really need him, I don't think. He's 34. Also, the CBAs are something we should probably look at. For some reason, you can't just get him on the AFL website. Manage fields, centre-bouts attendances. Where is CBA? I can't even see the centre bounce attendance. I can't even find it on the AFL website. Can you just like not see this stat? Is this just not a thing? Yeah, cool. I guess I'll check on my phone because you can see it on the AFL app. Geelong are just as wounded, but not being cocky. No being cocky, especially what they did to us in round 1 last year. Yeah, I think the fan base is a lot more humble this year going into round 1 than, you know, coming off 2 years of beating Geelong in Geelong and sort of just, yeah. I think we certainly know what we're in for. And we're going to end up playing a weaker Geelong team this year than we did last year. And we'll probably have a stronger team. So, you know, it goes both ways. Hopefully it tilts in our favour. So the CBA count was Rochelle had the most CBAs on the ground. Wow. Interesting. For Freo, Luke Jackson led the CBAs with 17, no surprise. Hayden Young, 16. So Young had more CBAs than Brayshaw and Sarong. It went Jackson, Young, Brayshaw, Sarong, Cox, who had 12. Then Bolton had 10, Johnson 8, Reed 7. Neil Erasmus had 1 CBA for the whole game, which I think's crazy. Neil Erasmus is so good on ball, and he's had such a good preseason, so 1 CBA is a bit wild to me. Corey Wagner played midfield last week, didn't get a single CBA today. Jager didn't get a single CBA. So there are some guys that usually roll through there that just didn't get a look in. Tobin Murray got a clearance. I'm not sure where that came from. It must have been around the ball up somewhere on the ground, but that's another talking point. Tobin Murray kicked a goal, only had the 7 touches, but 4 score involvements. Does he play round 1? I thought he did a few good things, probably had a quieter second half or a quieter first half. But I think Tobin might have done enough to be there round 1. I thought he did a few good things. Jackson was everywhere today. Oh, he was awesome. Just how good is he? He's ridiculous. We won't get destroyed by the Cat like last year, I think. The Cat. Well, we could, but we've just got to stay level-headed, I guess. Does look promising, Tobin. I thought his pressure acts were good. Got caught holding the ball a couple of times, which is just kind of a young player thing. But I thought Tobin was quite good. Asking Shea to be more accurate is like asking Toby Green to behave. You're not wrong. It's kind of just in Shea's DNA. I know I'm an Adelaide fan, but I respect Fremantle. Well, thank you, Riley. The Crows are... I'm not going to say the Crows played well, because I didn't actually think Adelaide were very good today. I thought we got lucky in a few instances. They were just over-possessing it, and we pounced on turnover. But I'm sure the Crows are in for another good season. Agreed, Ryan back for round 1. See, that's another thing. So Luke Ryan was named as an emergency today, but I didn't see him at the ground. All of the non-playing players were sitting behind me. And so, like, Dudley was there, who was named in the squad. Banfield was obviously playing. He was named an emergency. Carl Warner was in the stands after being laid out. All the emergencies were there. I saw Jeremy Sharp there, and Swade, Wan, all these guys. I didn't see Luke Ryan. Sean Darcy was there. So I'm not sure what's up with Luke. Did Peel play somewhere today? Because there's something going on. I don't think we're getting the full sort of picture with Luke Ryan. Fixtures and results, training schedules. So Darcy's going to play for Peel Thunder as well. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure, eh? I'm not sure. Is it? Can I see preseason? Preseason Waffle League. So their first preseason game's in 2 weeks. Maybe they've got an intra-club or something. I've got no idea. But yeah, I think Darcy and Ryan will both play in that. But yeah, it's interesting the managed minutes we've got our guys on at the moment. Murray looks like he's been groomed for a Switkowski injury. Groomed. That's a word. Or a Reed midfield move. Yeah, I agree with you. With Switkowski, I think Chris Sherry's the first one who comes in. Because Sherry was named as an emergency over like an Adam Swade, who was our first round pick. And he also played minutes in our game against West Coast last week. So I think Sherry's rated really highly, and he's similar to Switter. He brings that sort of pressure. So I think if Switter went out, we'd probably bring in Sherry. But I think Tobin Murray would complement this team really well with Murphy playing that many CBAs. I mean, he had 7 CBAs today, which is way up on last season. Fremantle do have good enough players to play in September. I don't know if they'll go deep in finals. Well, luckily, we've got an entire season to determine if we're a good team or not. Another thought. I think the new last touch rule on the wings really helps Raz and Johnson's style of play. Forces the wings to be a more contested role somewhat inside than pure running out wide. I'm actually stealing that for the podcast. I'll credit you, but I'm gonna favourite that comment. I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I didn't think it during the game, but it makes sense. There was only one last touch sort of free kick called on my side of the ground. I'm not sure if there was any others on the other wing. But yeah, that's a good point. And you think like Jeremy Sharp's a very hard-working winger that keeps his shape very well. but his downfall last year was not being able to get involved in the game as much. Maybe Jeremy Sharp can flourish in this type of role, I'm not sure, but it certainly favours Johnson, Erasmus, O'Meara, these types of players that are shafted out to the wing. Like, even Andy Brayshaw didn't have heaps of CBAs today. Like, Brayshaw being on a wing wouldn't be the end of the world because it's still going to be a more contested game out there. So, I like that. I mean, because like there was one last touch free kick and not a single deliberate inside the arcs, which is unheard of. So it's definitely changed the way the sport's played. And it's only been in the sample, really, in terms of the top two tiers of footy. And I don't watch sample footy, obviously. So this is sort of my first taste of watching footy with last touch, and it definitely changes how the game's played. How many games do you have us winning this year? Stab in the dark, 16, but could be more, could be less. I'm not sure. 1 week at a time, eh? Do you think Reid stays in the middle? Reid seems like the best user of the ball. He'll play the same split that he did today all season, I'd imagine. I think probably by next year, he'll be about 80-20 midfield forward. But this year, I think it'll probably stay 50-50, 40-60. Still mostly forward. Because even when he plays forward, he's playing as the high half forward and he pushes up and delivers it really well inside 50. So Murphy's still sort of impacting around the contest, even if he doesn't start at the centre bounce. I do agree last touch is going to favour some AFL teams this season, but I think some teams are going to have more success with the last touch. Okay. Yeah, so the Murphy area question is an interesting one. I was listening to Backchat throughout the week, and they were discussing how Andy Brayshaw is constantly the fall guy and keeps on getting shafted out of the midfield. Like, it's a thing I don't get. Like, if the game is going to be played like this, then Brayshaw maybe moving out into a wing for a breather. I mean, you can't have a breather on the wing. That's the thing. I just think Andy Brayshaw is no use when you rest him forward or down back. Like, he's a midfielder that can sort of chop out around the ball. So, yeah, it is interesting. Fremantle had a near perfect preseason. Still a little bit to work on. 10 years ago, Fremantle won that preseason where they led. What does that mean? I'm just hoping we don't get the high hopes again. Well, 10 years ago was 2016, so that was... what were our preseason results then? I think we won both Prackies last year as well, 25. All right, AFL preseason 2016. What did we do then? We beat Richmond by 60. And we beat Adelaide by 2 in Mount Baker. Where's Mount Baker? It's not even Mount Barker. Sooners Park. Sorry, bit of a tangent. Oh no, it is Mount Barker. The AFL website, I've just misspelt it. Mount Barker's yonks away. Jesus. Well, we played a game there apparently. I think preseason has been great. And it was a flow-on from the hard work last year. I'm really confident for 2026. That sounds like a bot comment for some reason. I can't figure out why. We won last year's practice match too. Yeah, I don't think we went against that claim. Who else impressed you? Because I thought these practice matches are always a sort of... You can overreact in a way, but you can also be a little bit pessimistic where you're like, okay, Sarong only had 21 touches, Brayshaw only had 22. You maybe didn't see Pat Voss kick a bag that you would have wanted to see. Luke Jackson didn't kick straight, but I just think you have to look for the small signs in these types of games. Like, Luke Jackson's stat sheet is so unimpressive. Like, 18 disposals, a goal, and 11 hit-outs. Like, it's just a little bit meh. He had 7 clearances. But if you watch the game, Luke Jackson made the most impact out of any one of our players. He was just at every single contest with all of those 1%ers. Just always getting his hands on the footy, creating an aerial contest. I just thought Jackson was very, very good today. And Shea Bolton's stat sheet actually looks okay for the role he plays. 18 and 1 goal too. But his disposal efficiency just left so much to be desired. So it goes both ways. Jordan Clark, yet another quieter preseason game. Doesn't really affect me. He kicked a goal from miles out, which was good to see. An absolute helicopter. But I think Clarkie's one of those guys that will just turn up round one and continue how we left off last season as that All-Australian halfback. You know, he played really well in Origin and he's been a bit average in these two prackies. So I think he'll flourish in that sort of full AFL environment. Are you playing Cox and Darcy round one or too tall? Probably not. I've been on that train all preseason, but I think it's got to be one of them, one or the other. I think Cox gives us a little bit more forward. He's 211 centimeters. He can just get down there, sort of create an aerial contest without having to do too much. On the other end, and I think Jackson's going to end up being our main ruck. I think JL actually hinted at it in like a halftime interview he did. I haven't listened to his post-match presser yet. But Sean Darcy this preseason has trained really well in the ruck, which isn't something we can just completely sort of gloss over. Every time I've gone down to Coburn, I think he's looked really good competing with Jackson and Cox and Riddle. So, yeah, it's a difficult one because I think they both add something positive to our team, but it's going to be hard to play both of them. Cox and Jackson should be the ruck pair moving forward. Yeah, I'm just a bit cautious to not get too carried away with Mason Cox because it's Mason Cox, you know. He can have these games, and he had one of them today. I thought he was really, really good. Thoughts on McVee, Cox, and Murray. McVee's had a little bit of negative sort of commentary in the comments so far, but I think he did okay. I think we are going to see way better games from Judd McVee this year. But his disposal efficiency out of what the 14 disposals he had would have been quite high, if I were to guess. Why am I still scrolling down? Must be up the top. Oh, sorry. It was 100%. Judd McVee's disposal efficiency was 100% from 14 disposals. I knew it wasn't low. Yeah, he had the highest disposal efficiency on the ground. So I thought he was clean, didn't put a foot wrong. He had a really nice rebound through the centre square, which I enjoyed. I'm just a long-time fan of Judd McVee, even when he was at Melbourne. So I'm probably going to maybe hold out a bit longer than other fans will. But I'm a big fan of Judd. Big fan. The last touch rule is going to be successful in the AFL, but I think AFL games are going to be really high scoring. I think the scores will go up with the rule, yeah. I did see Clark score that goal. It was absurd. Erasmus is way better than Johnson. I mean, I think Erasmus is better than Johnson, but I think it's harsh to say way better. I thought Jono had a good game today. Look, Eras had the 21 touches. Jono had not many, 10. Jesus. 10 disposals. He was stuck out on a wing for a lot of the game, though, and you can get stuck on cold wings. But then again, he had more CBAs than Raz had. Laid 6 tackles, but yeah, it was a bit of a quieter game from Jono, but I think he's had a really strong preseason overall. I forgot about Cox. Can't dump him. Really nice taps. Yeah, I just don't think you can't not pick him for round one. If I was predicting my round one team right now, Mason Cox would be in it. No doubt about it. Who was the best Freo player today? Tracy, you'd think. Tracy or Reed. The last touch rule was going to be a successful rule in the AFL, but I think am I reading comments twice? Oh, you put it in twice. Cox does this a lot more than you think. He often would get subbed off at halftime after being really effective or forced to play key forward because Cameron couldn't play forward. Jackson and Cox, fantastic. Yeah, well, maybe JL's just utilising him perfectly because JL did coach Mason Cox at Collingwood. So he worked closely with him. I mean, JL was the backline coach there, I think. So he wouldn't have worked one-on-one with him. But obviously JL chopped out in the ruck throughout his career. I think he was maybe even drafted as a ruckman, JL. So he's sort of got a little bit of a similar background to Cox in terms of how he came into the AFL. I mean, not in terms of being American. But yeah, it's interesting. I think JL might be able to get the best out of Coxie if that's what we're going to see from him. He was definitely a bit shaky last week, but no, I enjoyed him today. I think you've got to pick him round one. I mean, Geelong are going to have a really undermanned ruck lineup. I think they're going to start the season with Sam De Koning in the ruck. Maybe Mitch Edwards, who is a Freo NGA ruckman who Geelong drafted a few years ago. So that could be interesting. Can we have all 3 rucks by round 1 with a new ruck rule? I wouldn't want to. Darcy, Cox and Jackson would be something. The thing I like about the Freo list is that we have different weapons. Sorry, let me get up a bit so you can see me. The thing I like about the Freo list is that we have different weapons in the box in all areas. Forward 50, D50, mids and rucks. And with most of the usual suspects not playing, the others showed their stuff. Yeah, we've got a very dynamic list. And we're picking dynamic teams week in, week out. Or we are going to. And that team today was very dynamic in terms of where players can rotate and whatnot. So, yeah, I agree with you. How is Murphy Reid? There are no words to describe how good Murphy Reid was. There's still a concern for me that the third quarter was dominant and Crow still hit the front. Not really a concern for me. You can fade in and out of games, which is something we need to eliminate, but I'm not concerned about it. The breeze was really against us as well. I was at the ground and it was quite windy. So, wouldn't read too much into it. So would I, Riley. Confirmed that Darcy and Ryan playing on a reserves pracky game this morning. Explains Ryan missing in the stands. How did he pull up? Because Sean Darcy was in the stands. So, I'm not sure why Lukey would be missing. I'm just going to quickly search up their names on Twitter. To see how they pulled up. Luke Ryan. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so because people were questioning why Banfield was the late in for Warner and not Ryan, but he obviously played that pracky this morning. Sean Darcy, how did he pull up? Has JL said anything, or I'm just going off Twitter? Okay, Justin Longmuir dismissed any thoughts on playing Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy, and Mason Cox in the same team. There you go. There's your question answered. Yeah, they're not going to play together. Straight out of Justin Longmuir's mouth. There you go. Mason Cox fantasy watch. That's all I'm saying. What did you think about Tobin Murray? That kick to Tracy with grouse. Oh, he was very, very good. I don't know if he'll play around 1, but if he does, then, geez, I'm not against it. I think he looked very, very good. I think the lower disposals of Brayshaw, Sarong is probably a result of preseason where they're trying, where they are being a bit cautious and trying a few different things. Oh, 100%, yeah. They are the sort of things that just don't worry you as a fan whatsoever. Sarong and Brayshaw only getting 20 touches. I still noticed Sarong. I still thought Sarong had a really good game. I thought Brayshaw chased defensively really hard. I'm just going to have a look at the stats from the last 2 years of our prackies, because I reckon they would have had quieter games in recent years as well. Last year against Melbourne, Brayshaw had 22, Sarong had 20. It's the same thing. Sarong played 60% game time. And against Port Adelaide the year before, Brayshaw only had 24. Fifey had 26. Oh my goodness. Has anyone watched the documentary? Quick tangent, but oh my goodness, that second episode was hard to watch. I don't mind the Peel Thunder. You're a Subiaco fan from South Australia. That is something. Who do you think will play round 1? Shaggy, just off the top of my head, my predicted round 1 team. No research, just predicted round 1 team off the top of my head. Carl Warner, Alex Pearce, Oscar McDonald. I don't think Cox will get up. Then Jordan Clark, Heath Chapman, Judd McVie, Neil Erasmus, Caleb Sarong, Corey Wagner, Luke Jackson, Hayden Young, Andy Brayshaw, Shea Bolton, Pat Voss, Murphy Reid, Jai Amos, Josh Tracy, Sam Switkowski. Maybe not Switter. Tobin Murray could play over Switter. That's the one thing, because I'd love Switter to play, but I'm not sure. He hasn't played a pracky or a preseason match. But hopefully Switter. And then on the bench, how many on the bench? 5. I'd say Mason Cox, Matt Johnson, Jago O'Meara, Brandon Walker, and maybe Tobin Murray. Is Tobin Murray the guy? I think it could be, unless you play like Davies as an extra back rotation, but we got Walker. I think it could be Murray. Because like Dudley hasn't played a preseason game. Dudley hasn't. Switter hasn't. Maybe Tobin Murray gets that spot. I mean, I've been big on him all preseason, but I'm starting to come to the realization that it might actually happen. I think, playing 2 preseason games is a big positive in the lead into round 1. You think Sean Darcy plays over Cox? I don't. I just don't think, with no AFL preseason games, whether that's the wrong or right decision, I think with the role Cox played today, I thought he executed it brilliantly. And I just think as that tap ruckman to complement Jackson, I think Darcy's still the better footballer, but to start the season, I think Mason Cox. Yeah, I know. It was amazing. I loved it. JL just ripped. I mean, I know we all know, Justin Longmuir does have the ability to swear. He's not a robot. We know this. But just him raising his voice, it's like, I don't know, it's like the nice teacher at school getting angry at you. I mean, it's not like that, but I put Cox on the bench as well. Well, you've got to, I mean, JL's just shut down playing all 3 of them in the same team. So the debate literally is Mason Cox or Sean Darcy. Very interesting one. McVie over Banfield's a call. It's not a huge call. I mean, Banners still could play. I actually forgot about that. Gee, maybe Banners plays over Murray's, that rotation, like sort of a utility. I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely prefer McVie in the team. Would I? No, I like Judd. I really like Judd. I think people have gone a bit off him today, but 100% disposal efficiency from 14 touches today. Solid defensively. I think Judd will grow into it. I think you've just got to play him. And if we get a few weeks into the season and he's not up to scratch, then it's a pretty easy sort of move into the waffle, given we've got Luke Ryan coming back and, you can sort of flip around Carl Warner and Brandon Walker in the type of roles they play. Our waiting room's not huge, but before we end, I'm going to get Flagmantle 26 in. Are you ready? Give me a wave. Righto. G'day, mate. I don't know what to gain out of this. And he's left. So that was riveting content. Up to Dockers, I guess. Do you think Jackson plays better with... Fuck, I'm startled. Do you think Jackson plays better with Darcy or better with Cox? Cox is... I think Darcy was a great number 1 ruckman. Jackson is our number 1 ruck now. We need someone to complement him. I think Cox is a better number 2 ruck than Darcy is. Like, who would I rather as my number 1? Darcy. Who would I rather as my number 2? Cox. So I think Jackson plays better with Cox. It's an interesting one. I really like the Prancing Pony. Oh, don't we all? Righto. Well, 45 minutes in. A bit of a shorter fan cams. We usually go for over an hour. But that is it, I reckon, for the night. Unless anyone wants to join to end the evening. We've got 64 in here. Surely there are some... Mate, on the fan cams, towards the end of last year, we had about 15 people in. But no, I reckon we've got a pretty quiet end tonight. Lots of content coming in the lead up to round 1. What do we have coming up? We've got the podcast coming out on Tuesday. Druzy will have 5 things. So hold up. Let me restart. Druzy will have 5 things we learned out tomorrow. I will have my player ratings out on Monday. The podcast will be out on Tuesday. And from there on out... Sorry, and on Wednesday night... That's right. On Wednesday night, the first episode of Wharfie Wednesdays, live. So 6 p.m. every single Wednesday. So 6 p.m. this Wednesday coming up. 2 new sort of presenters joined the channel for the first time. So please give that your support. You know, we had 110 in the stream last weekend. We've had 70 in tonight. Give them the same support that you give me and Drew's. Because that's the show that's going to be running every week throughout the year. So yeah, please give Zach and Jordan your support on Wednesday, 6 o'clock WA time. And from there on out, just heaps of content leading up to round one. We'll have another podcast, then we'll have the game preview, and then after next weekend, it's all roads into round one. So thank you all for watching. Tune into the podcast on Tuesday, plus the player ratings, plus the 5 things we learned. Give your support to Wolfie Wednesdays on Wednesday night. And finally, shout out to our members, Dwight Kello, Greeny, Ozterra, Freo Rover, Alex Dean, Docker Dan, John Bull, Dean Crow, and Rilo. Fremantle have beaten Adelaide in our final preseason game tonight, 84-68 by 16 points. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.